Join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everybody. Please sign in.
Five members present.
Hey, Ryan, have there been any changes to the agenda?
You'll see there's two memos on the dais in front of you. First one's related to item 5E, the open space ordinance. There was an updated version. Some of the basic language at the end of the ordinance was not included in the version in the packet, so this is just the complete ordinance that staff's asking you to consider and adopt tonight. And then item 6A, Ruthenium Urban Renewal Area, that item's been amended. Rather than adopt the resolution, we're adopting a motion to continue consideration of the resolution to May 6th, but we will still hold the public hearing tonight. So,
Okay, perfect. With that, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Please vote.
okay, we're having some technical difficulties, so if we could do a voice vote on this while we work it out.
We signed in.
Yes.
Did the sign-in not go
Did
through?
the sign-in work?
Okay, I think we're okay now.
Okay.
Okay, so please vote.
Maybe.
Hold on.
There we go.
All right.
5 yes.
Okay. Moving on to item 2, Citizens Forum. Anybody that would like to address the council on anything that is not a part of either public hearings or new business, please come to the podium here, give us your name and address for the record. We ask that you keep it to 5 minutes or under, that you keep it civil and respectful. And with that, Congressman Loeffler, please.
Gary Loeffler, 1235 11th Street, West Des Moines. I've seen some of the plans for the Legacy Woods, and I have some concerns about some of the proposals that are for there. The parking lot that they're proposing looks like it's going to be pretty far away from the Jordan House, and predominantly the people that visit the Jordan House are elderly. So I don't know if the site plans or the plans that I'm seeing on the Facebook or on the internet, as it were, on the site, I don't know if those are poured in concrete, if they've already been decided. I also know that there's some very nice sunrise maple trees. It looks like they're going to be demoed in the parking lot. It's like, I'm like, if you're doing an arboretum, you should try to save the nice trees that are there. So I'm just seeing a couple things, and I see that they're calling for the demolition of some of the buildings. Obviously, the older camp buildings, they need to go. And the guys that I've seen there from the city, I've been helping them do locates. Hey, this is where this goes. This is how this is where this is at.
Sure.
So it's been a really amiable process in working with the people from the city. So I want to make that clear. But in terms of what I'm seeing that is actually drawn, I really have some questions about it. And I don't know where you guys are all at in that process. But like, for instance, there's a 40 by 75 building that's perfectly structurally fine. It's a $200,000 building, and they're calling for that to be torn down. And I'm like, you could put a new skin on it. You could repurpose the building. So I'm just kind of concerned about maybe the direction that, I don't know if I'm ahead of the curve here or where I'm at on this, but I would just like to see some more interaction about what actually is going on over there at that site. Am I done?
Okay. No, you're
Okay.
not. That's just somebody beeping in online.
Okay, there's another smaller building that's right off of Fuller Road. It was where the church had its old shop. Again, that's another building that could be repurposed and used. Just put a new skin on it, because there's water, there's sewer, there's electricity already in that building. And that building is called for being demoed, and all they're going to put there is like some kind of an orchard thing. But the other thing in talking with the people at the Jordan House is that they use some of these structures for storage spaces. So, I mean, if we totally demo all these buildings and everything, and then they're going to have they're not going to have any place to store what they have. So I'm just like, maybe if we could have more of a dialogue on that or more input, I would be happy to sit down with any of the city council members. And, you know, I am a taxpayer, and I'm just like, why are we spending, looks like a lot of money when we could probably have potential huge savings just by incorporating some of the structures that are already there. So that's.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your feedback. I mean, this is a fluid process. I know that we're trying to bring everybody to the table and get feedback and input on it as we're coming up with the site plan. So we'll take a look at some of those things that you mentioned, the parking lot and some of these buildings and whatnot. But, you know, some of this too, I think is, you know, there's got to be an analysis of some of these buildings. And I think beauty is maybe in the eye of the beholder on some of these.
Yeah.
You know, some might be able to be saved and some might not be able to be saved, depending on what the plans are and what kind of condition the buildings are in. But maybe what we could do, Gary, really appreciate, you've been out there working for, I don't know how many years now.
9
taking
years.
Taking care of that ground. So maybe what we can do is get a meeting together with you and staff, and we can go over some of your concerns. We can show you what the site plan is looking like at this point in time. But I think it is pretty fluid at this point. Do you want to comment on that, Tom?
Site plan's really early. We haven't even seen it officially because at ARP, there's a group that's raising the money, that they're raising the funds to do this. We're quite frankly going to use the funds that are raised to do this. And those who are raising the funds also would like to see they have a say into this also. And we've talked to the Jordan House people regularly. So we'll contact you, Gary. You could sit down. Not saying you'll get everything you want to see, but we will take that.
Now you're starting to sound like my wife.
Would I need to talk to her a little more about it. But we'll show you. We don't have any final drawings at all. I think you're probably
Okay.
seeing some Ed Arp's work early on.
Yes.
So but our staff, Lynn, you haven't seen any of this yet, have you? So once we get a chance to review it and look at it ourselves, we'll call you in and let you take a look.
I would really appreciate that. And just kind of reiterating just a little bit is this. You know, probably 70 or 80% of the people that visit the Jordan House, they're elderly. And the way that they've got that currently drawn on the Legacy Woods is that parking lot's a long ways from the Jordan House. And I'm just like, I think we could have a better facility. And I'm all for what's going on there. Believe you me, I've mowed and weeded around all those old buildings and saying, you know, hey, you know, Lord, if you just send a lightning bolt, we could cure everybody's problems here. But no, so appreciate your reaction to this, and hopefully we can work together. And hopefully, you know, if you want me to be a part of that process,
sure.
more than happy to do it.
We'll bring you in, Gary.
All right, thank
All
you.
right, Gary, hey, thanks so much. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay, anybody else that would like to address the council on Citizens Forum? Go, okay, why don't you come up to the podium, give us your name and address. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were here for that. So anybody that wants to address the council on anything that is not either part, if you're not under mayor, council, other entities update, which you guys are, or public hearings or new business, please come to the podium, give us your name, address to the record. Anybody online, hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same thing. Is there anybody here in the chamber or online that would like to address council on Citizens Forum? Okay, seeing nobody moving and hearing nobody chiming in online, Citizens Forum is closed. We are now going to move on to item 3, Mayor, Council, Manager Report, Other Entities Update. And we are going to start with item 3A, which is a presentation regarding Iowa's first mini forest project. And with that, you are on. If you just want to give us your name and address for the record, and then away you can go.
I'm Walter Pearson. I live at 985 South 90th Street in West Des Moines. And I want to thank you all for the opportunity to come and talk to you. I really appreciate the support of Mayor Trimble and Manager Tom Haddon on this project. And I really would just like to give you a little bit of a sense of what we're up to with this mini forest project. We're a book group that got started by reading a book on this, and I'll explain that in just a second. But before I get along there, I want to make sure I give my full appreciation to the Parks and Rec Department and to the Forestry Department for all of their work that's gone into this project so far. Ryan Penning has been marvelous in support of this project. Marco has been wonderful, giving us good ideas about where to site this thing, and plenty of support. And without any, there's no way we could have done this without the support of Paul Taki in pulling this together. He knew what to do and how to do it. And so it's been a marvelous project. And so I want to give my thanks to those folks here. They're really quite marvelous. So what is a mini forest? Well, in our book group, we learned that a mini forest is basically native species that are planted closely together, a pretty small space, in this case about the size of a tennis court. And that we've prepared the soil. In our case, we've tilled the soil, and it's in creekland, so the soil is really pretty rich. And then we're going to mulch it and keep it fenced so that the bunnies and the deer don't eat everything up. And it's got to be maintained for about 3 years. And to that point, the forest should be completely self-supporting. So that's what is a mini forest. And I have this. Okay, I don't know what happened here.
There you go.
Page down. Oh, here we go. Okay. So I have a short video. I'm just going to show about a minute's worth of video, and you'll see how quickly the mini forest grows. In the UK, they call these tiny forests. This is what it looks like when it's first planted. This is what it looks like at 2 years. And this is 3 years. You can barely walk through it at 3 years. And this is what the forest looks like at about 8 years to 10 years. So,
It's pretty impressive, I have to
it is
admit.
impressive. All right. I am having trouble here.
I think you're in a loop, caught in a loop here.
There we go.
There you
All
go.
right. You're good. So why are we planting a mini forest? Well, this process of planting plants close together really causes them to grow pretty rapidly, as you can see. And that helps us in terms of storing more carbon. We need more trees to store more carbon. That's one of the best things we can do to fight climate change. And we think that this really improves air quality and reduces runoff. It'll help control some of the runoff in the area. And one of the things that we're excited about is that it provides a new wildlife habitat. Lots of birds and bees and all kinds of bugs are going to be in there, and that's going to be a good environment for us to bring the kids down from Brookview Elementary, which is an important part of the reason why we located it at Brookview Park. It would be easy to pair with the Brookview Elementary School, and they have paired with us. It's quite impressive what they've done. So they're going to have 500 kids out there to plant on May 3rd. They're bringing the entire school. The Principal Stephanie Angelino and the teachers there have done amazing stuff already. And we've had great support from the Waukee School District generally, including from Waukee Apex, which is their magnet school. And they've just done marvelous stuff with us on logos and signs and recruiting people. They're marvelous young people. It's really quite remarkable. And we've got a lot of support coming from the ISU Forestry Department. They're going to be coming down to do some research and are helping with lesson plans. So it's a wonderful opportunity to bring young people into this process, and they're very excited about it, as are we. So this is located just south of Brookview Elementary, just north of Jordan Creek. You can see there's a shelter, and Paul and Marco have suggested we site it just kind of to the north of the creek, and I think it's going to be a beautiful site. And so preparatory work is really April 28th. That's the day that we'll be out there to plot things out, lay out the planting grid, start digging the planting holes, that sort of stuff. That's on Sunday. And then planting day is the big event with all the kids coming in, 500 kids out there crawling all over each other, I guess. And we've got to dig some remaining holes that day with a power auger. And then on May the 4th is a community planting day. Anything we haven't planted yet is going to get planted. We're going to mulch everything and start setting up the fence. And rain dates for all of this are May 5 and May 6. And then looking ahead, Paul has committed to having West Des Moines Public Services water the site. So he'll understand the watering schedule and make sure that happens. We've got to get out there with volunteers and weed it for the first 3 years. It'll need some weeding, and we know that. And then after that, it's the question of where do we go next once we get this thing planted. So that's really the next thing. And if you'd like to get involved, this is the way you can contribute. That's at the Friends of the Parks contribution page. If you'd like to volunteer, you can volunteer here on that particular website, take into the specific tasks that we're going to have on. I thought I'd stop there and just say, if you have any questions, Catherine, who's here with me also to help answer questions.
So Walter, I would just say, my gosh, this is phenomenal. Thanks to you and Waukee School District, Apex, thanks to our Parks and Rec. Thank you to Paul Talkie. This is awesome. It's going to be a great project. I would just ask maybe, Ryan, if you could send the council these dates so we can put them on our calendar in case we're able to make it to the event. That would be great. I know everyone's got a lot of stuff going on, but it would be awesome if we could have these on our calendar. So you are a book club that gets together?
Yes.
And you read a book about mini forest, and
Right.
somebody said, hey, why don't we try this here in West Des Moines?
I did, yes.
You said that.
Yeah.
And everybody said, yeah, it sounds like a
You're on
great
board.
idea. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal. That is unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, we're pretty proud of it.
Yeah, you should be. So I'm proud to have this in our city. This is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions for Walter at all?
Oh, my two kids have been excited because they go to Brookview, so they're going to be out there on May 1st or 2nd or whatever the day is they will be planting. And just want to say thank you because this is really exciting. This is a lovely part of our city. The school will have access to it. Jordan Creek Trail bikers and runners and anybody running by Brookview Park will all have access. So, and our critters will have access too. So I'm sure some bobcats will find their way over there someday.
They will.
But,
I think they will.
so thank you all. Really appreciate your dedication and your focus on making our community better. Appreciate it.
And we're planning to invite you to the press conference on May 3rd. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Councilwoman.
I'd like to say, Walter, I'm Renee Hardman, and I want to thank you both for being here. And, I'm a part of book club, and what we do is read books and drink wine. So that you
We do
all
that
are,
too.
you're and that you are reading books and being a part of inviting young people to experience nature and trees and life and animals and birds and bees. That's very stimulating for a young mind, and that they'll get to be a part of it is really neat. I hope that you'll take video and maybe invite them year 1, year 2, and year 3, and have them, whoever can come out and do more videos of them at each stage of this growth of this forest. And I think that'd make a good story for other communities that might want to follow suit. So thank you for your creativity. Thank you for your care of nature. And more importantly, thank you for enlightening and sparking the minds of young people, young children.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you.
Renee talked about videos. I mean, maybe you've thought about this, but I would suggest taking that one step further and then putting it out on YouTube, having a YouTube channel about this whole process. And like the video you showed us, year 1, 2, 3, just so people can see the progression of it. But I think it's a great idea.
Be cool if you could do time-lapse video. I don't know how hard that is to do, but
Yeah,
that would
be really cool to show
that'd be
the
really
growth.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Well, this is great. I mean, any time where we can be good stewards of the environment and have education for the kids and a place for people to enjoy, I'm all about that. I think we all are. So this is just a great project. Thank you for bringing this forward and for taking action on it.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you all very much.
All
Appreciate
right.
it. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on. Item 3B, we've got an update on Westcom. We've got City Manager Matt McQuillan here from Clive, who is in your capacity as Chair of Westcom Committee, or?
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. Members of the council, Matt McQuillan, the Clive City Manager, but I also serve as the Chair of the Westcom Management Committee. So that management committee is made up of all the city managers of the 6 communities that are covered by Westcom. And what we like to do on a regular basis is provide the 6 cities that invest in Westcom, and obviously West Des Moines, you are also the host community for the Westcom operation as the operating contractor. So this is very much a part of your operation as a city, and then the 5 cities in collaboration with you in terms of financing the operation of a public safety dispatch center for the agencies of the public safety first responders of the 6 cities. So what we like to do is a regular update on what's going on with Westcom, a lot of the strategic planning activities. We've got some pretty big decisions that'll be coming up in the short term for Westcom, particularly related to facilities. As all of you know, Westcom is housed in Station 19 on the southwest portion of your community. More central portion now, I guess it used to be the southwest portion. And we're definitely in a point of needing to look at more space as all 6 communities are growing, and some growing quite fast, like West Des Moines, Waukee, Urbandale, Norwalk, and others. So it's becoming that time for some pretty big decisions. And so what we want to do tonight is, at least, number one, appreciate and share our appreciation of the investment that you all make both organizationally and financially in Westcom as the operating contractor. And then provide Chief Mantola, who you have met, but a number of the other communities haven't. So as we go to the other cities, we're introducing him as the new Chief of Westcom. In fact, as we leave here today, we'll be going over to Windsor Heights to do this same presentation later tonight. But again, thank you for the investment, and allow Chief Mantola to kind of walk through some of the big activities that are going on with Westcom and see what questions you all have. So with that, I'll turn it over to Chief.
As most of you know, I'm Chief Mantola, and I see you guys often. This is just a short presentation, but some of, like I said, the other cities don't know me very well, so we have a little bio section. Started out in the Air Force for 22 years, 19 years in volunteer fire rescue, raising from a rookie pup all the way up to the division chief, and 27 years I've been doing public safety now. Of those 27 years, this is kind of the pedigree. Started in 1997 in the local area down by home, and then off across 5 states as a GIS manager. Built a center from the ground up in Dade County, Missouri. It looks impressive, but Dade County had a population of 4,000. The average call for service per day was 5, but it was impressive by our standards. Then on to started consulting, CAD project manager, Washington, D.C., in the Unified Communication Center. If you ever get out there, it's a 150 position center. And then did some work for Amtrak Police, GIS'd, collected the entire track network of North America. It was a fun project. And led Baltimore Washington International Project in remodeling, rebuilding their communication, administration, and public outreach centers. And then off to Belgium and was a subject matter expert as they consolidated 330 PSAPs into 3. Got to go back home in 2010. Contract ended on the East Coast. And we consolidated 2 PSAPs and a public safety police department into 1. And then in 2015, oops, sorry about that, I was offered the job in Saudi Arabia. Come on, it's supposed to be previous. There we go. 2015, working for His Royal Highness to build, develop, design 911 centers. But they did a regional concept, so a single center, like the one in Maca, is larger than the state of Missouri. Took in 30,000 phone calls per day, and our average shift was 600 people working every day. So, and then went back, got kicked out for COVID, went back in the civilian side of the world working for Saudi Bell. doing more 911 work, and finally ended up with NEOM. What's our vision? Westcom is a statewide leader. We prove that by we are the only nationally accredited training system in the state of Iowa. We are only one of 33 accredited training centers across the United States. We're pretty proud of that, and that gives us top-tier training to provide quality service to you, your residents, and the other 5 cities. Our mission, of course, we are the first of the first responders. We take the calls that help provide the process to get responders in place in the right time, in the right way. Excuse me. There we go. We do have a few guiding principles we like. We're always there when you need us, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no matter if we're shorthanded like we are right now. We're 5 dispatchers short, 1 supervisor short, but there's still always somebody in the seat to answer the call when it's there. We work very well with all the agencies, 13 of them out there. And we have common feedback. We have several meetings every month. So we make sure that we are on the leading, cutting edge of service. And of course, teamwork comes with that. When you lead quality, you have great teamwork. And of course, we're always transparent in all we do in our decision-making, our communication process. And our goal is to do a better job of that as we go forward. Because we know it will be a challenge as we require more money to go to a larger facility and those things. And we have to do our due diligence for you to make sure Westcom is a well-known entity or word out in the public so that we get good support and you get good support. Our 5-year strategic goals, we're going to just hit a few highlights. Under public safety governance, of course, create a legal structure for an independent organization. Westcom is a service agency under a 28 agreement of the 6 cities. We technically don't exist as a standalone entity, but as you all grow, which right now the growth rate for the 6 cities is 15.5% since 2020. Eventually, we need to grow up and move on and try to find other funding opportunities, and that's what we're looking at. Right now, there's only 2 funding opportunities, and there is no code or law in the state that allows anything else. One is the 2080 agreement, so the 6 cities pay their percentage of their population into the collaborative effort. And there's 911 surcharge money, which unfortunately is decreasing every day and every year that we go on. So right now, you're subsidizing the 911 side of the house. And unfortunately, there's no way out of that right now. And the state's going to have some tough decisions to make in the next 2 years because their fund is going to go upside down. So they're going to have to change something. You may see a larger charge on your cellular bill. Instead of $1 per your phone, it may be $1.25 or something like that. But they're going to have to figure that out. Our service expectation is several of our policing agencies and fire agencies are CLIA certified or CLIA accredited. There is a communication arm of that as well, and we want to achieve that. So we're working towards that. And it's a long project. It'll take us probably 2 to 4 years to get it done, but we're willing to do the diligence to make sure that happens. We are working on our 5-year technology plan. We work closely with West Des Moines IT in developing that technology plan, so we always have the best cutting edge. And we're going through a year-long process right now of doing just that, upgrading servers and software. What's our growth? Of course, everybody wants to increase staffing. That's just part of life. My job is to justify the staffing properly to the management committee and get support. Our goal is to get our supervisors off a shift. They're currently work a position. So you can imagine how it is to supervise 6 or 8 people in a room when you're already tied up to a computer yourself. It's kind of difficult. Complete planning and financing new facility. That process has already started. We've had workshops. and we're going down that path. We're probably looking at 2029 to move out of Station 19, but that's the goal we're going down. I know the police and fire share statistics with you, but these are our statistics. The computer-aided dispatch, or the CAD, shows that, oh,
Yeah, Clive's in there.
I got the wrong, I gave you the wrong one. I apologize. I think it's right, though. Hang on, let me look at it.
Chief, you're talking about moving
right or
out
wrong?
of,
Are the numbers good or bad? Or did I get the title wrong? Okay.
Those are fine.
I apologize for this. I will make a correction and send you the right ones.
that's fine. Now, you talk about moving out of Station 19, and I guess some of the questions up on the dais right now is, where are you moving specifically to then?
We have no idea yet,
No idea
sir.
yet.
This is all exploratory. Right now, just looking at what do we have to do? We've had workshops with finance and others on, okay, how do we finance the move? We're definitely not building a building. That's probably out of the question. It's too long. There's lots of opportunities and buildings out there that can be leased, purchased, whatever option the committee chooses to remodel. But like I said, our goal is a 5-year plan. This next 12 months is strictly exploratory, and I can let Matt
Yeah,
touch on
if I
that.
could add to that, I think we've got a lot of research to do. I think our goal is about a year from now, when we're coming back to do this next annual update, is to have a lot more defined framework, decision-making framework of what that looks like, more of a feasibility of what's the need, and in terms of square footage and flex space of what might be needed depending on certain growth scenarios. And so we're really starting to, this last workshop, starting to identify, okay, what professionals do we need to bring in to help us, consult with us, advise the management committee, so then we can come back to the 6 city councils and present that case and that justification, because this will require an investment in all 6 cities in terms of a future capital improvements plan contribution or operating budget contribution if it's a lease. And so there's a lot of questions to still yet to be answered on that. But we're hoping at least hopefully a year from now, we're in a better position to present those kind of key policy questions to you all, to all the elected officials
Okay,
of the 6
thank
cities.
you, Mr. Chair. And I assume you're continuing to look at and explore opportunities over at the station over on 68th.
Yeah, I think there's going to be, with Station 19, when Chief mentioned looking at 2029, there's going to be things that we're going to likely need to do between now and then to even be able to manage the growth that we're experiencing today. If we're able to do something sooner, it just kind of depends on some of that feasibility, but there might be the need for some slight renovations, just even at the existing facility, to get us to that point. So that will also be part of that analysis of what are interim strategies, investments that need to be made to get to the ultimate bigger investment that will hopefully be able to plan for Westcom's long-term growth, and what are we going to do in the short term to manage where we're at today. Because of course there is some room, but very limited to grow, but there is some room to grow, and also the working conditions aren't ideal long-term either, but those will be decisions that we'll present to the councils in terms of their feedback on what that may look like and what the investment may look like too. As Chief Mantilla mentioned, we have opportunities with existing buildings. We've never really thought about a lease scenario, so that's something we want to vet, is especially with Westcom's growth, do you look at a lease and then lease option additional square footage in a larger building? So if we do realize a certain growth path or another community comes into Westcom at some point in the future, do we want to plan for some scenarios of, maybe you need 20,000 square feet, but we option 5 to 10, depending on what Westcom's growth may be over a 20-year time frame, to make sure there's enough room in the building to manage that, but we may not need it right away.
Sure, okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Chief, I wanted to just say that on the previous slide, we do have in our PowerPoint West Des Moines numbers.
Okay,
so
thank you.
We have the correct
I wasn't
numbers
totally
here, so-
crazy.
No, so, I don't know, yeah.
Okay, so Westcom statistic-wise, 2023, 62,000 over 911 calls, that's VoIP, text, and traditional 911. We also took 68, sorry, I keep pushing the wrong button there, I apologize. I think the document you'll see in your slide package has a second section of this that shows the landline volume at about 111,000. But 5-year, we're growing, a little slight down in 2022, which was expected, but on a steady growth at this time. One of the important things I like to show is this slide specifically. We do contract with a language interpreting system. We took 1,300 calls, predominantly Spanish. The number 2 came out of South Africa version, and number 3 is Arabic. Those are our high-volume calls, using a total of 14,000 plus minutes of time to get a translator and help understand and what they need and so on. We have a short video, but I'm going to skip it for you for one reason. It's the same video you saw that I shared weeks ago on after the library incident. We created a public ed video to show what Westcom does and so on. If not, Ryan and them have it, so does Lucinda, and we can always share it back out to you. You know who I am, you know where I'm at. You control me quite well. Any questions or concerns?
Any questions for Chief Mantola or Chairman McQuillan?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, Chief, thank you for being here, and the packet does include some of these West Des Moines numbers. I'm curious, on here it says text to 911, and gone from 0 in 2019 to 260 in 2023. What are the capabilities via text? Is it purely text? Can you
Purely
do?
text. You can text 911 and we can respond and answer to you, yes.
Okay, is there video or pictures that are able to
Not
be
at this
transferred?
time, no, but we do have the technical capability to do video. But it's just not evolved enough yet to make it out there.
Okay,
But it is on our future growth technology 5-year plan to have that capability.
Seems like they've been talking about that capability for like 5-10 years already.
Yeah, some places have it, it's just very expensive.
Okay.
I can tell you in Saudi Arabia, it cost us about $250,000 to develop our own video app to come straight into 911. And that was only for like 30,000 people across the entire kingdom. So it's coming down, it's getting there. They're starting to open up, the CAD vendors are starting to realize it is an essential piece of the process.
yeah, okay, very good, thank you.
Saudi Arabia and Kingdom, you've got quite the resume, and we're happy
Thank
to
you,
have
sir.
you here working on Westcom. So any other questions for Councilwoman?
I do. Thank you, first of all, for your service. I've loved hearing about your background, just very, very impressive.
Thank you.
So the page that deals with language, folks that need language assistance.
Yes.
Is this isn't just West Des Moines numbers, this is in the aggregate, is that correct?
It-
Where it has
This
14,919
is
minutes.
for all 6 cities.
Okay, all 6 cities, okay. And so Arabic is number 2 and Spanish is number 1. Okay, okay. All right, so.
Okay, any other questions before we move on?
Hey, gentlemen, thank you so much for your presentation. Just a couple quick questions. Right now, we have a 6-city alliance in Westcom, and my first question was, does it still make sense for this alliance to exist, so to speak? I like using the word alliance, it's a fun word, but I think that we probably don't have to reinvent the wheel over all 6 communities. It makes sense to combine. I'm asking you guys, does it still make sense to work together as 6 communities?
I would definitely say as somebody who's been the chair for the last 6 years, I think, and seen the growth where we went from 5 to 6 cities during that time period, and 2 of those communities joining not too long before I was chair, that does make a lot of sense. I think the service expectations that those 6 cities have, including West Des Moines, I think this model meets those expectations, and especially also meets the expectations of fast-growing cities. And I think that is, going back 20, 25 years when Westcom was created, I think it continues to carry that mission and meet those expectations. It's always a challenge, though, with changing technology, and now that we're, text to 911 and other things that are coming along in expectations of the community. I think it's going to be important for, as Chief Mantola mentioned, with the awareness video and other, getting information out there about Westcom and this investment that these 6 cities are making. We know that's in addition to other PSAPs that are in the county, but for there was a reason those three original cities came together, and there was an expectation that they wanted to see met. And because Westcom did such a great job of that with those three original cities, you had three additional cities who say, hey, I'm willing to pay and be on board with that same service expectation and service delivery model. And so I think that continues to be strong. Will it grow beyond that 6? I think that's a question for the future. I would say it has to make operational sense for Westcom. I think these 6 cities being all combined and right next to each other makes a lot of sense operationally. Doesn't need to go beyond that. I don't know if that's necessarily needed at this point, but that's always an option in the future and why we've had communities join. But I think it's not just about the financial resources that come, it has to make operational sense for Westcom too.
Sure. All right, thanks. I had assumed that it was still the case that
Yes.
combined, our powers combined make a little bit more sense than just going it alone. So thank you for confirming what I was already thinking. And you kind of answered my question when we talk about these 6 cities. As you've gone around, Matt, and you're well aware of how all these cities and how they feel about this, is everybody pretty strong and confident in this organization in regards to us working together, going into Westcom together? Is everybody still pretty on board with this?
I would say very much so. I think we're all cautious of the costs of these operations and how they're increasing. Of course, just like West Des Moines, all the 6 cities have the same pressures that you all have in terms of changes at the legislature on our revenues. And that also can have an impact on Westcom and the demands. I think we're cognizant of that going into this facility discussion. I think we're cognizant of it even in that kind of independent model. That was an original goal laid out in the strategic plan a number of years ago, but knowing that we've got to do it in a cost-effective manner too. We don't need to be an independent organization just to be one. It has to make cost sense as well for our taxpayers. So I think as we go into that, there's definitely commitment around the table, and that continues to be there, but we're not necessarily resting on that, but that's always going to be the case. I think Westcom will have to continue to deliver and meet the expectations of those 6 communities to keep everybody on board. But I've had zero hesitation from any of the 6 cities that they're less than thrilled. They're all thrilled with the service that they get from Westcom.
Awesome. Chief Mantola, thank you. Matt, thank you. What I'm hearing is the alliance is strong, and that's great to hear. Appreciate it.
So if a municipality isn't using Westcom, are they just doing it in-house? Then what are they doing? What are
So
they using?
there's 3 public safety dispatching centers
Okay.
in the Des Moines metro area. There is Polk County Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
And then the Des Moines Police Department, and that the Des Moines Police Department just covers the city of Des Moines.
Yeah.
Polk County Sheriff's Office covers a number of communities, Ankeny, Johnston, Polk City, Altoona, Pleasant Hill, pretty much all the other cities other than the Westcom cities in Des Moines are covered by Polk County Sheriff's Office. So just those 3 dispatch centers. We're the only model in the state that is configured like we are, where we actually overlap 4 counties. There isn't any other dispatch center like us in the state. We're actually the 2nd highest in terms of call volume. Des Moines is the only higher one in the entire state.
So doesn't Warren County and Dallas County have their own dispatch centers too?
They have, the sheriff's office do have their own dispatch centers, and actually they do a lot of learning from us. Warren County is doing that right now as they're looking to stand up and revitalize their center. But even in those communities, so like Waukee, for example, used to be served by the Dallas County Sheriff's Office, made a choice to leave them to come to us for certain expectations that they had as a growing community, and Norwalk did the same with Warren County. Now, I think there's still a lot of opportunities to work with those counties. As, for example, in Dallas County, as we continue to grow west, in terms of relationships and kind of backup status that we have with some of those other dispatch centers. We also are a lot on the same statewide radio system. So, for example, when a lot of our first responders from the Westcom communities went up to Perry to support that unfortunate incident up there, our first responders were able to roam onto their radio tower because of the state radio system, so they didn't lose that radio connection when they went up there. So there's still opportunities where we can work together, but yes, they do have their own, sheriff's office have their own dispatch centers in those counties.
Which this goes, I mean, I've said this before on the dais. I work up at the state for my day job, and I was working on these issues when we were building out the statewide backbone and trying to improve public safety. And just to show you how much of a leader Westcom is, the state was looking to Westcom for building out the statewide backbone, and I think started building it off of our system and building it out from there, which is why we were able to communicate with Perry and others. And you know, we are a leader, and the state looks to us. So to answer your question, is it strong? It is the strongest, I think, PSAP in the state by far. So,
Yeah, it's very true. When Westcom was one of the first to convert to digital, and the master controller system that runs that radio system was actually purchased by the state, and it's a Joint Forces Command that actually is the brain of the state system. We were the foundation of the state system.
and I'm trying to figure things out and how it would all work and what we were going to do. I mean, they were coming to us,
Yes.
which is, it's unusual to see a higher level of government coming to the lower level of government.
And gentlemen, to be clear, my questions were not coming from a place of skepticism. They were coming from a place of confirmation. So it's
Oh,
good to
no.
hear that. It's good to constantly hear that, and I appreciate it, and I thank you all.
And my comment is just reassuring you that we are not only strong, we are the strongest in the state, and people look to us. Yes.
And I think Westcom is also a model in terms of how you can have fire and law enforcement as a part of the joint governance model. That's also unique in the state. Typically, most dispatch centers are led by a law enforcement agency. We have that balance of police chiefs and fire chiefs all being at the table in terms of having input on how the procedures run at our dispatch center. And the governance model that we have that's unique amongst 6 cities, where I'm the chair currently, but that chair rotation will happen later this year, and you'll have a new city manager that's the chair of the management committee. So we kind of move that around the 6 cities.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We've got to move on unless we have other 1 or 2 more questions. All right. We're going to move on. Thank you, gentlemen. Really appreciate the presentation and the update.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, moving on to Mayor, Council, Manager report. We'll start to my left here with Councilman Lopes.
Nothing to report, Your Honor.
Hey, Councilman Trevilian.
Nothing this time.
Councilwoman Hardman.
Thank you. I'll be brief. Just want to share that I did attend the Human Rights Commission meeting. It was on Thursday. Boy, is that one fired up group of individuals that really are doing a great work to really elevate our presence in diversity, equity, and inclusion here in our city. So good group of very committed folks trying to do different and unique opportunities to make sure that we are a city that really touts a sense of belonging. And then I just want to promote again the Black and Brown Summit, Business Summit, that's being put on by the Chamber. That is the April the 18th and the 19th. So might not be able to make both days, but please go out. Catherine and her team have done a remarkable job. They have wonderful leaders coming into town. There's a pitch competition where thousands of dollars is going to be given out to entrepreneurs that have pitched their business. And so I'd promote, I think that the mayor, you're speaking a little, saying a few things, and I'm going to be speaking as well. So I'm happy to represent the city on the Black and Brown Business Summit, and want to give kudos to Catherine and her team for their brainchild and their orchestration of all that goes into that.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I would just, for my update, remind people of the May 16th 100-year celebration of the West Des Moines Chamber of Commerce, and remind everybody that's able to go to buy their tickets, because it is going to be a sellout event, and it's going to be a ton of fun celebrating West Des Moines that evening. So, Councilman McKinney.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of quick items for the colleagues here on the dais and those that are tuning in. We had a Public Services Council meeting since our last, I think, council meeting. And there's an issue related to sanitary sewer service at roughly 60th and Ashworth. And so right now, there are a lot of folks that don't have sanitary service because of the way that the area was developed. But we've got some of the laterals and the septic systems that have been installed are starting to fail. And the question is, do we set up a unique, I don't know what you call it, but a unique fund, so to speak, so that folks can have access to the sanitary sewer in that area. And staff did a great job working to help educate property owners in the area, and did a survey and found out that really nobody was interested in doing that. And so, while I can appreciate the concern there about creating a new fund and trying to fund the fund, nobody's interested in doing it. And the result of that could be that you've got several property owners that when and if they experience, not when, not if, but when they experience a problem, what are they going to do? And how's that going to impact the area? So we're going to dig into that, I think, a little bit more. I'm going to try to maybe individually connect with some of those folks out there. But just so you're aware, we might have an issue down the road. The second thing is we had a development and planning meeting this morning. Councilwoman Hardman and I were there for that, and learned about, with the city of Clive, actually, we've got an agreement related to stormwater near the Clock Tower Square area. And this is an agreement that dates back to 1986. And there were some requirements that the city meet, and we haven't yet met them. And so we're working with the city of Clive and working through all that. But it highlighted the importance of stormwater, and there's going to be impact on the Clock Tower Square development. We talked about that this morning, but I anticipate before this council sometime in the not too distant future, we're going to have to revise our agreement with the city of Clive to meet some of the requirements that date back, 38 years or so. So anyway, it was an interesting discussion, and you'll see a couple items come here soon.
Yeah, appreciate the update. On the one item in regards to the sewer, I think we had these folks in, I don't know how many years ago, Kevin, and the same deal. They didn't want to connect, they didn't want the sewer, they didn't want anything to do with it. I assume that you guys had a conversation about what we did for the little section of Quail Park and for Thornwood, and where the city installs the sewer, and they don't have to connect until their septic fails, and they still don't want it, huh?
No.
It's hard to believe. And maybe that's due to the fact that, if it does fail and they don't want to connect and they're a certain distance from that sewer, they don't have a choice, right? But, well, keep working through that. That's important. And then on the other thing, I would just say, stormwater management is one of the most difficult things that we face in doing infill development, redevelopment. And we have worked in good faith with developers over a number of years when they've come in to do an exciting, new development or rehab of the old facility where they say, we can't meet the standards right now. And they say, well, tell us what you can do. And we work with them almost like on a payment plan, a plan over the future to bring the site into compliance. And so, I want to be friendly to the business, but at the same time, if all of a sudden now, years down the road, they're saying, hey, what we agreed to do years ago, now we're here, we didn't realize we were going to get here this fast and we can't do it. Well, then we need to start really rethinking what we agreed to going forward in infill development on these agreements. You don't have to do this now, you got to do this now, but 10 years from now, you need to do this, and then 20 years, you need to do this. I mean, if they're going to agree to it now and then not do it later, that's a problem. So tough situations tough solutions to come up with that.
It was a robust discussion
bet it was.
will certainly continue. We're looking for ways to, try to protect the city and work with those developers on a go-forward basis.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks,
you.
Councilman. Councilman Hudson.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. City Manager Haddon.
Two things. Jamie Letzring left another preparation for Legislative Update Week number 14. We're hoping it's the last week for all of us, for all of the good of human beings. We're hoping that finishes. Anyway, just kidding. On the and our staff. On the mention I want to bring up when we're talking about Westcom is I just want to bring up the 22. Mayor, was a quick thought of a lot of us to say, let's take 22 for where we're going to have it. But the guy in the white shirt in the back row is going to need a new station because remember, 22 was built right along the border of Clive and West Des Moines, and we're no longer have that. The relationship's different now. And so we would have to move the station. So that cost, and he's looked for different pieces of property there. It's pretty pricey. So I would love to do that, but that's going to be very difficult.
Yeah,
so.
I hear you.
But we're looking at all the options. And the other thing I want to bring up, and not as a party pooper up here on Westcom, is that Polk County gives those, that's part of their taxes they pay. Those cities don't pay for it till maybe this year. I think maybe they're making their first payments to Polk County. So they've got a pretty big edge on us. We pay those taxes that serve the other everybody else. Plus, then we add this on to Westcom. Now, we're getting outstanding service, but we still have to consider, can we keep that, how that coalition stays? And we probably have to have agreements to keep it going because we're very, I'm telling you, the management committee is very cautious of saying, let's go boldly where nobody's gone before, because we know if those costs keep going up, people are going to go, well, he's going to say, well, Dallas County's going to offer me this deal. And Norwalk's going to say, Warren County's offering me this deal. So we have that on our mind, and it's a complicated issue. They do a great job, but I'm just saying there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle. Just to give that side of it.
Right.
Thank you.
Yep, good perspective. Okay, with that, we'll move to item 4, consent agenda. Are there any items that any council person would like to have pulled and voted on separately? Otherwise, I take a motion to remove the consent agenda as.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded, please vote.
5 yes.
Okay, item 5, old business. Item 5A, Eagle Brook, south of Veterans Parkway and east of Southeast 35th Street. Amend the zoning map to establish R1 single-family residential zoning, Eagle Brook LLC. We've got an ordinance for approval of the second reading, waiver of the third reading, and adoption of final form. There are no outstanding issues and no changes from the previous reading, which was adopted unanimously by the council at the last meeting.
Motion to consider second reading.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024 by amending Title IX zoning, Chapter 4 zoning districts and maps.
Motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Motion to waive the third reading and adopt the ordinance to consistency zone property.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 5B, ordinance amendment, amend Title IX zoning to modify land use permitted in the business park, general industrial, and light industrial zoning districts, Spray Tech Fertilizers LLC. We've got an ordinance amendment for approval, the second reading, waiver of the third reading, and adoption in final form. There are no outstanding issues and no changes from the previous reading, which was also adopted unanimously by the council at the last meeting. Somebody want to move approval?
Motion to consider second reading.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024 Title IX zoning pertaining to fertilizer mixing.
Motion to approve the second reading.
Second?
Sorry, second.
All right, but please vote.
I'm getting, thinking of something different. Sorry.
Five yes.
Motion to waive the third reading and adopt in final form.
Second.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 5C, amendment to City Code Title 6, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 6, Parking Authorized to Remove, Section 12, Officers Authorized to Remove, to add the power to remove illegally parked vehicles on public/city-owned parking lots by the police department. We've once again got an ordinance amendment for approval, the second reading, waiver, the third reading, and adoption in final form. There are no outstanding issues and no changes from the previous reading, which was adopted unanimously by the council at the last meeting.
Motion to consider the second reading. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024 by amending Title 6 Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 6 Parking Authorized to Remove.
Motion to approve second reading.
Second.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Motion to waive the third reading and adopt in final form.
Second.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 5D, motion approve of approval of traffic code amendment, allow parking on the north side of the street and remove parking on the south side of the street, Cedar Drive, Woodland Avenue East to Woodland Avenue West. We've got an ordinance for approval, the second reading, waiver of the third reading, and adoption in final form. There are no outstanding issues and no changes from the previous reading, which was adopted unanimously by the council at our last meeting. Somebody want to?
Motion to consider second reading?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Which item are you on?
Item 5D. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024 by amending provisions pertaining to the traffic code relating to official traffic controls.
Motion to approve the second reading?
Second.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Motion to waive the third reading and adopt in final form?
Second.
Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 5E, this is the one that we've got the memo for. There's been some corrections made to the pinky that was sent out originally. Please take a look at your memo that's on the dais. We've got ordinance amend Title IX zoning to modify regulations pertaining to uses permitted in the open space zoning district and amusement and recreational services uses in non-residential zoning districts, city initiated. We've got an ordinance amendment for approval, the third reading and adoption in final form. There are no outstanding issues and no changes from the previous reading other than what was corrected in the pinky that was inadvertently left out and some things that needed to be updated. But this was adopted unanimously by the council at the last meeting. And like I said, there have been some slight changes to align with standard industrial classification titles and to draw awareness of associated performance standards and code for certain uses.
Your Honor, I'm going to just clarify before I make a motion.
Okay.
So what we've got on the dais versus what was in the packet, nothing has changed from the second reading. It was just the information in the packet was incorrect. Is that right? Thank you, Lynn. All right. Motion to approve the third reading and adoption of the ordinance and amendment.
Okay?
We'll do
thank
a
you,
motion
Kevin.
to consider, and then we'll do
Yeah.
the third
Motion to
reading.
consider the third reading.
Yep.
Yep, okay, is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, Councilman McKinney.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. So I was reading and going through the document here, Councilman Trevilian, at the same time you asked the question. So you're confirming that the information that's in sections 3 through 7, as identified in this document that was put before us here,
Is the same as what we did in the second reading. It was just incorrect for whatever reason in our packets.
so it was incorrect in the second reading, or it's incorrect in the third reading?
The
Packet.
third reading packet. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Lynn.
Okay.
Lynn Tweet, Director of Development Services. If you look at your ordinance, this section 3 on down was not in the staff report. It needs to be part of the ordinance. That's how you sign off and say you've approved it. That's the only thing that was missing out of this.
And what page are you on there, Lynn? Just so.
The second to the last, really the last 2 pages where it says section 3. Everything after that was just not in your staff report.
Got it. Thank
When
you.
we approved it in previous times, all of the information was included, so a
Right,
small
the tables
clerical
are the
error,
same.
so,
The
yes.
tables are the same with the exception of what I noted of just clarifying some of the titles to match SIC and putting in also, C 910-4A 23 on certain items, so. But
Thank you.
what was allowed, what we've all discussed at the previous readings, that's all the same.
There wasn't a page for my signature or anything like that? which is
Right,
out.
there was no page for your signature before.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, any other discussion before we vote? No? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes, an ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024 Title IX zoning pertaining to uses permitted in the agricultural open space zoning district and amusement and recreation service uses allowed in non-residential zoning districts.
Motion to approve the third reading and adoption of the ordinance amendment.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, moving on to item 6, public hearings. Item 6A, again, we're going to hold the public hearing now, but this has been amended on the agenda. We are going to be making a motion to defer consideration of this item at the very end of this whole thing. With that said, this is the time and place for public hearing to consider Ruthenium Urban Renewal Area initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice is published?
April 5th, 2024, in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience that would like to address the council on item 6A, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody either in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on item 6A? Again, if you are online, *6 to unmute yourself. Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I will declare the public hearing closed. And again, we have an amended motion here. The motion today is to continue consideration of the resolution to the May 6th meeting.
Motion to continue to May 6th.
Okay, it's been moved.
Second.
Second, okay, it's moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, please vote.
5 yes.
Okay, item 6B, this is the time and the place for a public hearing to consider the 2024-2025 fiscal year operating and capital budget initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice was published?
April 5th, 2024, in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience that would like to address the council on item 6B, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody either in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on the FY 24-25 operating and capital budget? Okay. Hearing no one, I will declare the public hearing closed. We have got a resolution approving the FY 24-25 operating capital budgets. There are no outstanding issues, and these budgets were discussed at length at 2 different city council workshops, one of which lasted an entire day. I would say that this budget, once again, cuts the city portion of the property tax levy by 5 cents per thousand, taking us from $10.90 down to $10.85 per thousand. I am extremely proud of this budget. I think this helps taxpayers at a time of need when we've got inflation in our economy, the price of everything going up. I think this goes a little bit to try to help those that are working to make ends meet and that are on fixed income. So I'm very proud of this budget, and I know we've discussed this very thoroughly in a number of workshops. So does somebody want to move approval?
Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? I would say it is tax day today, and the taxpayers today are going to be getting a reduction of 5 cents per thousand. So that's pretty awesome on April 15th.
Well,
Different tax, but
thank you.
Still reduces their cost.
if you want to waive the income tax, I think everybody'd be good with that.
God.
Oh, if we could do that, we would do that too. We can't work miracles. Councilman.
Yeah, no, Mayor, I'd echo your sentiment. We're heading in the right direction. And at a time where valuations go up, and I know we have the state rollback that plays into it, but we got to do what we can at the local level. I'm really glad we're doing what we can. And yeah, we spent, as you said, the Saturday going through it and other workshops. And we had our special city council meeting, 10 days ago, where, we had more people at our special council meeting. I was actually surprised to see, 15 or so people show up.
I was going to say about 7, but.
Well, I don't know. It was.
Matt was seeing double.
Well, maybe it was. I don't know.
Including us.
I missed it.
But, like I said, we're heading in the right direction. I appreciate all the work that staff put in to make a budget like this work. And I know that we're doing everything we can over the course of time to make sure that this is sustainable, right? That we can continue moving in this direction without reducing, services and making sure that we're providing the highest level of service across the community. So, Tom, thank you for you and everybody's work in this process. It started months and months ago with hours and hours of work, and I'm really glad we ended up in this spot. And so, thank you.
Absolutely.
Your Honor, I'll just say, go ahead.
Councilman Lowe's.
Go ahead.
Councilman Hurd.
I'll just say one thing. This, as Councilman McKinney said, this started months ago. And part of it is led by the council, pushing staff to make sure that we're doing everything with every penny of taxpayer money that we do get. And I'm really proud of this council, of the staff, of Manager Haddon, because I think, I think we did a really good job this year looking at areas where we can save cost. And I think we did a really good job of considering the other side of it, because we had some debate about could we do a bigger tax cut or not. And I think everybody kind of fell into, okay, we don't want to upset the apple cart too bad, but we felt like we needed to do something these days. And so I really appreciate how everybody kind of came together, and I appreciate all of the people that came up to speak at the budget meeting 10 days ago. And I think this is the outcome that we wanted, and I think it's the outcome that our constituents deserve. And, they work hard, and we should be good stewards of their dollars, and I feel like I can tell everybody that we are. So, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Councilwoman Hardman.
Yeah, I don't want to belabor the meeting, but I think that, given that this is probably one of the most important things that we can do, that we're charged to do, it's a robust process, and a lot goes into it. I remember my first meeting when we had years ago 8 hours. I was like, 8 hours, Tom, to do a budget? And he was like, I was like, oh my gosh. And so I truly understood why it took 8 hours. And when you look through all of the staff reports and what they put together to help build this budget, it's really phenomenal when you see what they do with trying to still keep things. I like to give kudos to Tim and his team. I think we have a phenomenal CFO who really knows his stuff and is very responsive to questions, stupid as they might appear or sound, but really can lay things out in layman's terms, because a lot of people don't understand the complexity of this budget when you really have to think through all that goes into it. So kudos to you, Tim and Tom, and the leadership of the council to have the fortitude and the insight to really have such fiscal approach to trying to make sure we manage the budget. So good job. I'm glad to get through another year, and really like all the work that's put into the binder. I learned something every single year by reading that binder, and I have all of my binders on my bookcase, collecting dust on some, but I love to go back to it because it's a good reference. And even when people are running for office in this seat, you give them that binder, and this is the Bible that tells you everything that's going on in West Des Moines government, and it's really educational. So it's an educational tool for others that have interest in serving this great city. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other comments?
Mayor, could I say
Yes,
just a couple of
yes.
things real quick?
Absolutely.
It is a year-round process, and it starts in earnest probably in August or September when the budget team gets together. We challenge the directors have been challenged, and this time it's getting a little more. It's even more serious because we have the 5-year legislation. So this current budget that you just approved is. Only 4 people were in the budget, and that was the Westcom dispatchers, which we share with 5 other communities. So no new hires for ours, and what we're trying to do is we're continue to look at what efficiencies can be, drop costs where we can. I think the directors are doing a great job doing that. Of course, when there's certain needs, we're going to have to address them, but I just want to make everybody's on board. Well, I don't know if everybody's on board smiling, but they're on board. They're working hard, and we're trying to get. The goal is deliver the services most cost effective we can, and see what we can do to get the rate even more reasonable than it is.
Well,
So-
we really appreciate you guys, and I know your budget team, I think, is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you've got yourself, and you've got Deputy City Manager Let's Ring. You've got Laura on that team, right?
Chris,
You've got
Tim.
Tim and Chris. It really is a great team that meets with all the departments and goes through all of the needs and wants and tries to go through that. And we really do appreciate all the efficiencies that you guys are working on continually, every day, every year. That's what the taxpayers expect of us, and we're going to keep doing that. I think we had about 7 people at the budget hearing, and one individual came up and was not happy that her taxes were going up, but after further review, I feel like a ref, after further review, her taxes are actually going down, and she miscalculated her taxes. And the other two were concerned about our tax cut and didn't like to see that because they were concerned that services would suffer because of it. And our services have never suffered because of lowering the tax rate. And that's because of all the hard work that all the city staff puts in and all the efficiencies that we find every single year, working hard to find those. And, you know, it shows on our citizen satisfaction survey that we do every other year how high the survey, you know, we rank in the survey in all these different categories. So anyway, thank you for all your work. If there are no other comments or questions.
Thanks for your support.
Or, I don't know, Councilman Trevilian, you got your light on, you have any? No? Okay, all right. With that,
So move.
okay.
We already got the motion.
Oh,
Oh,
we do, okay.
we do.
Yep, okay, so with that,
Keep it moving.
please vote. Thank you, Renee.
Enough is enough.
5 yes.
All right, item 6C. This is a time and place for a public hearing to consider the 2024 HMA resurfacing program initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Ryan, would you please read the date the notice is published?
March 29th, 2024 in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comments to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience that would like to address the council on item 6C, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, please hit *6, not #6, but *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on item 6C? Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I'm going to declare the public hearing closed. We've got two resolutions and a motion, which we can take at the same time, and there are no outstanding issues. Somebody want to make a motion?
Approval.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
5 yes.
Okay, item 7, new business, item 7, Item 7, new business, item 7A, West Des Moines Southeast Fire Training Tower, 1630 Southeast Moffett Lake Road, approved site plan to allow construction of fire training tower and driver training area, City of West Des Moines. We've got a resolution for approval of the site plan. There are no outstanding issues. And there's one condition of approval involving the applicant applying for and receiving a level 1 minor modification for building a trash enclosure. Does somebody want to move approval of the resolution?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there anybody from the audience or online that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, any discussion on the dais? Okay, please vote.
5 yes.
Okay, item 7B, plat of survey parcel 24-13, 8,000 EP True Parkway, approved plat of survey to create a 0.29 acre parcel for the transfer of ownership, Waukee Community School District. We've got a resolution for approval and release of the plat of survey. There are no outstanding issues, and one condition of approval requiring the Waukee School District to execute a lot tie agreement. This was also approved unanimously by the Development and Planning City Council Subcommittee.
Move for approval?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, is there any discussion on the dais? Okay,
This is, this is going to be a real difference maker. So I'm really, really pleased that the Waukee School District and the City of West Des Moines are working together on this. I've had many conversations with our esteemed Chief Engineer, Brian Hembeseth, about this. Just the traffic situation for drop off and pickup on 81st Street is pretty nuts. And so this is going to really, really help. So thank you to the Waukee District for creating a plan that's going to make this area at 3:40 PM and 8:30 AM much more manageable, because it's just not safe. It's not safe. So this particular transfer is going to make that difference so that the inflow and the outflow and plenty of cars can line up. Big night for Brookview, both north and
No
south
doubt.
of this
Yeah.
site right here. Just
Getting a
get
lot of love.
little mini
A lot of love for
tree
Brookview.
forest and a parking lot. Boy, that's both sides of things.
yeah, it is.
It really is. In any case, so I'm supportive of this.
Yeah. Great comment. I know we had to deal with the Stillwell death loop for I don't know how long with their pickup and drop off. Thank God. I mean, Kevin and I missed that window, but now they've got an incredible pickup and drop off that's safe, and people aren't dropping their kids off on Grand Avenue. Yes, they were dropping their kids off on Grand Avenue. So
What was worse though, Russ, is when they were dropping them off on Vine Street, which was just a one lane east and west, and they were stopping both directions to let little Johnny have front door access. So,
and if you got into that death loop, you were never going to make it on time to work. So good to see these kind of improvements that really improve traffic flow, increase safety. I never got into it, I did not drop my kid off on Grand Avenue though either, or Vine. So thank you for the comments. With that, any other discussion? All right, hearing none, please vote.
5 yes.
I hate those death loops. Okay, moving on to item 8, receive, file, and/or refer. There are no items to receive, file, or refer. Item 9, other matters. Are there any other matters that any council person would like to bring up at this time for the good of the order? Okay, going once, going twice, hearing no one. We are adjourned to go watch the WNBA draft.
It was over.
Oh,
Who's first pick?
yeah, but it was 6.